Okay, everyone, I'm super excited to have Katherine on the call with us today for the Spotlight interview. Katherine is a partner of ours that we truly value, we truly love, and we've been going at it with her campaign for a bit now. So there's lots to fill you in on. But before I start with my questions, I kind of want Katherine. So, hey, Katherine, how about you tell us where you're at right now, what you specialize on here in real estate, and yeah, just a little bit about yourself.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Karen. Obviously, we've known each other for a few years now. Our relationship started about 2 years ago when you started as my ISA on my
Right? Yeah.
um, kind of where I'm at. Actually, my career has really transitioned since joining Meskula. I started this business under a mentor, and I did a lot of luxury real estate, and I really enjoyed that. But when I finally went out on my own, I'm a busy mom. I
Yeah.
have two kids, and they're not little, but they're very, very busy. And we also own a company, so I do everything on the other end for that. And I don't really have a lot of time to get out and meet people in a very organic way. So a lot of my business is through online leads or referrals. And so my niche has actually changed from joining Meskula from luxury to more volume deals, and then like investments, flip properties. And I've made a lot of really good relationships through Meskula because I get on the phone with people who really, really need my service. And some of them have become, I think they'll be lifelong friends at this point.
Yeah, close friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so amazing to hear.
Yeah. And the other thing I've been able to do since joining Meskula is actually build a team. So at the moment, I've got 4 agents underneath me and get their business rock star sent off. And so they're all doing really, really well, especially one of them, Andrew, through the leads. He's done really well. What else was I going to say about that? Yeah, I don't know. That's been really cool and really rewarding because, the best thing about Meskula is you guys don't only provide the leads, you provide the training. So for them, they've been able to learn how to become great cold callers, confident, know the questions to ask. So that's been really helpful.
Good. And from everything you're saying, Katherine, like honestly, I love it just because I find that there's so many agents that are going to be relating to this. One thing you said was, I'm a mom and I see so many moms like also joining and just like wondering, like, can I do this? Like, like, will I have the time? Will I also be able to care for my kids? And it's amazing to see women like you just going all in and taking care of everything you have to take care of, but being smart enough to know that, okay, I need this resource to help me out, or I need this, in order to accomplish it, which is amazing. The other thing is building a team. There's a lot of people, Katherine, that just like you kind of like, come join us and then are like thinking about the team. So just seeing how you've developed. And I do want to go on to asking you a little bit more about, the deals you've done so far. Now that we're talking about all this. So like, how many deals would you say on average, like you've actually gotten from Meskula since you joined or since a certain time period?
Yeah, so I would kind of focus mostly on the last year. My journey with Meskula has actually been a bit of a roller coaster, and not on the Meskula end. I think you guys are the ones who have kept me kind of in line, but just personal things. And, it was a big learning curve making these phone calls and figuring out where my strengths and weaknesses were. And also, I think there's a bit of, as agents, we get fatigued sometimes with all the cold calling that we do, or demotivated, or we've been through so many bad experiences with online leads that you kind of don't take it seriously. So I would say my first year, I didn't take very seriously. And I wasn't making those phone calls, and I wasn't doing the training, and I wasn't, following through. But I would say in the last year, like we really got the fire going and started moving forward. So I don't just get the online leads now. I'm getting the sign calls, the exposure, the the client referrals, and now same with my agents that are working alongside me. Now they're getting those sign calls, referrals, everything that comes with it. I mean, I love to talk about this one client because I think that it was crazy how we met through Meskula. We started talking, and I went to his house and we just got along so great. And I put a sign on his lawn, and that house took me, 8 months to sell. But in the end, we broke a record with it. Highest sale price in that area in the last ever. I'm not even going to say in the last 20 years. I'm going to say ever.
Ever.
Detached, 2-story, like 1,500 square foot house. Just a standard home, 3 bedrooms, kitchen, bathrooms. And from that one deal, I got another client who I did a buy and sell with. She called me off just the sign. Her condo was featured in Avenue magazine. And from there, she referred me to somebody else who I've done 4 deals with now. So that's just one call, one listing, broke a record, featured in a magazine, did 4 other
Reputation.
deals. Another client, exactly. And, that's just one of the, I would say about 15 I've done this year through Meskula, and then everything that filters out from there. And that's amazing from an agent who doesn't really make the phone calls very often.
Yeah, I was going to dive into that actually, but I do want to, I don't want to let this one slip. Like you were saying in the last year, because we've been together for over a year, but just in the last year, we could look at 15 deals, and we're talking, people that came in through the system, people you got referred to because of those leads. So it's amazing. You just managed to expand, right? From 1 lead, from 2 leads so that's amazing. And I do want to touch base. I'm not going to put anyone on the spot here, but this is a learning experience. We want to hear about this a little more. So you were sharing this, and why I asked Katherine is because I see that all agents struggle with this at one point or another, right? You said sometimes we get demotivated, discouraged, we don't want to call, things like that. But throughout the first, let's say 4 months, 5 months, the first year, did you realize what was your point where you were like, Katherine, let's really dive in? Like, what was happening? Like, you were getting leads, but right? What was happening within those first months?
Realistically, I came in a little fatigued from having another lead system take care and making calls. And I think when you first get into real estate, you're like, ready, I'm going to do this. And then, you face so much rejection that it becomes really hard when a lead comes in to pick up your phone and go, hey, how's it going? And I always felt, I'm a perfectionist, so I always felt like I had to be 100% prepared for that phone call. But no time is ever a good time to pick up the phone when you have 2 little kids and a busy career and other things going on. And so they would just slip away. And anytime I actually sat down and just made calls, I'd walk away with 1, 2, or 3, like whatever I set my goal as. Let's say I wanted 3 listings that month, I would sit down and make phone calls until I had 3 listings. And it didn't take that long, or 3 listing appointments is a better way to put it, right? Like get in person. I know as soon as I get in person, that's where I can really connect with the clients on a personal level. We become friends. It's really easy at that point. I'm really good at what I do. I just don't always enjoy picking up the phone. And so there was other avenues, because I realized that's not my biggest strength. That's kind of where the team started too. So I was able to share a lot of the good stuff that was coming into me, and they were able to kind of turn it around and make something of it faster than I could. I don't want to say I could, but no time was ever a good time to make those calls. So I think you have to take that next step and be like, it doesn't matter if the situation's perfect, take the 5 minutes, give them a call, and keep calling until they answer. And then when they hear your voice and they learn to get to know you, and they laugh with you, and they understand that you're not just some robot, blowing up their phone, and you're a real person who's educated and can actually help them, it takes it to that next level.
Yeah. I love hearing that. It kind of sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been able to see a transformation within yourself, right? This is something that you had to do yourself. You had to say, hey, Katherine, let's dive in. Hey, Katherine, let's do something differently. So like, how do you feel about that transformation that's happened since you maybe first joined? And now when you're over a year into the program, probably like two, what is it? I don't know. It's been forever.
It's almost 2 years. Yeah. I was like one of the first to kind of dive all in, I believe, right from the beginning. So, and I had some amazing support even then with all of you. And, that's where kind of yours and my relationship begins, because you were my ISA. And so I was always seeing what you were up to. And I was like, yeah, do that. Talk to that person. Call them.
Right. Say that. Yeah. And so this is even beautiful. I honestly, Katherine, I hadn't taken note on this. I had not really dived into it in my own mind, where when we did meet, when you started with the program, I was an ISA. So I can also see my personal growth. Whereas now I'm a CSM trying to help you out in different avenues, in different ways, managing the accounts. And you are at a whole different level. You have a team now. You're even you're doing so many things differently. And so I think that that's one of the things I truly love about Meskula, that it's really a growth opportunity for everyone. But I don't want to speak too much on, obviously, like I'm Meskula, but what do you say about Meskula? Like, what do you value the most? What are your overall thoughts on working with us, your partners?
Well, I mean, and I actually take a lot of calls sometimes from new agents that are considering Meskula. And one thing I always tell them is it's like way higher on their levels of support compared to anything else that you're going to provide. Like, they are going to put out what they promise. Like, if they make you a promise, they will deliver it. And that has been the most amazing thing for me. Never mind just the support. The other great thing is we're such a family. So not only are they getting leads and all of that support that comes in with the system and everything else, but they're getting training, they're getting education, they're learning how to cold call, they're getting mentors from across the globe. And there's so many options open to somebody in training. The training is huge, because usually when somebody is kind of in a situation where they're looking for leads, or they want to grow their business, or they want to scale it to another level, there's other support needed than just picking up the phone, right? And so having people like Barry Jenkins and, those 7-figure agents in the States that are saying, hey, I did the trial and error. I started, in the beginning with these guys, and we've figured out what works and what doesn't, and how to get in front of these people. And this is what we say, or this is how we handle objections. And that can just be so valuable. I mean, for me personally with Meskula, like, you guys have become kind of my partners, my family. I look forward to, these calls with you, and, the responsiveness of the team is amazing, the support. And it kind of feels like we're all on this journey together in my world, because I was one of the first people, right? So I went through my growing pains, and you were supportive, and vice versa. And I mean, that's where it's really come in and been valuable for me.
That's so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for all of that, Katherine. Thank you for sharing that. And I guess this is just on a personal note, like, I want to hear this from Katherine, like, personally. But here's the thing. There's a lot of agents that sometimes, you were talking about the coaching, right? So there's a lot of agents that sometimes kind of come in and they're just like, okay, I need the lead generation, and I need some leads, and I don't need coaching. Like, what would you say to someone that, feels like they've learned enough?
I would say that, especially in this business, you always have to keep learning. You have to keep your mind open. And it's not that you don't know what you're doing. I think that's
right.
We've all been trained a certain way, but sometimes you can gain insight or see how somebody else is maybe doing it differently that might be really working for them, that can take you to that next level. So yeah, I mean, I can pick up the phone and I can have all the answers, but sometimes there's, another way to get around that. And I don't know, I've learned so much from that. Or, a big thing with real estate, and I think this is number one, is it's a really repetitive career. And so, yes, you get a deal and you do it and you're good. But as soon as that deal's over, it's like, okay, well, what now? Where's my next client coming from? How am I growing this forward? And, sometimes it can be really demotivating, like we are our own independent contractors. So just I want to say the inspiration and the motivation alone from watching somebody else who's being, who's had success, who's done really well for themselves, and just listening to them, hopping on one of those calls can be enough to inspire you to take that next step, or to get on the phone and not be afraid of rejection, or, it's just motivating.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. That is actually great feedback. And I guess the last thing, while I have you on here, since you have seen success, but you've also seen, like you said, you've seen times of, really just putting in the work, trusting the process, like all of this stuff. Like, are there, maybe you can count it with the fingers on your hand, like, are there a few things that you would say to agents that are considering, Meskula, that are considering signing up? Like, it's not a magic recipe. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not just going to come in here and kind of move the wand around. So what would you say? Is there a few keys that you personally have acquired throughout these years when it comes to experience of how are you going to succeed? What do you need to succeed in this?
Well, I mean, one thing, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. Number one, I mean, Meskula can do everything for you. But if you refuse, like I did, to pick up that phone and just make the call because you feel that everything, that whole situation has to be perfect. I mean, what I had to really realize is I don't have to have all the answers on that first phone call. I just need to ask a few questions, get the information that I need, and then I can start that relationship with them and bring them something. If I don't have the answer, like, well, how much is my house worth? Okay, let me ask you these 15 questions. I might call you back and ask you a few more. I'm going to put a package together. Here's everything I'm going to do for you. And here's where I'm going to give you value. So the next time I call you, please pick up your phone. And then I'm going to give you the answers that you're seeking. And so once I kind of got past that was really important. But I mean, really, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. The top 5 things, I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't have to be 5. That's a great one.
That would be number 1. You're going to get out, right? Like any system. Yeah, they all work. Maybe, I think most importantly, the things I tell new agents is it's proprietary. Like what comes in for you is yours. You own it. And these numbers and these names and the way they've set up the system, it gives you all the information to start. So you're not going in empty-handed or with a blindfold on. You actually can go on your system or your MLS and you can gain some information and then call them with some questions. So that is super helpful. The way Meskula does it, I feel like they have a secret recipe. A secret recipe for how to get people to not only click and share their information, but then they're giving the agent the right information so that way they can go into that phone call prepared to ask questions or have a hand up and saying, hey, I saw you live in Riverbend, for example, and I already know what style of community that is, the types of homes in that community, the benchmark price in that community, and I kind of have a rough estimate of what they're going to be. And now I need to go in and find out what kind of house they have. Is it a bungalow? Is it a 2-story? Is it a bi-level? How many square feet do they have? Does their house, are they on a main road? Do they park on, do they back onto a park? Are they on the river? How close to the dog park? Which side of Riverbend are they on? Yeah. But it gives you that leg up going into that phone call. So that way you can ask those questions.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Thank you. I really, really appreciate all of the feedback because it's real, because it was your process. This is what you went through. So I think that for anyone, it's very helpful. And if I got anything from, well, I got a lot of things, but this last part you were saying, it was just kind of like, just do it. Come in here, call the people, like, and do what you want to get out of it. Right.
Yeah, like you're absolutely, they're going to give you everything that you need in front of you. It's how you use it. So, if you go in or if you hire Meskula, the biggest thing I've said to people on the phone too is like, yeah, it's the real deal. Like they're top tier, agent services for pulling in leads. And they're going to deliver what they promise, but it also is going to take you putting in that effort to use the recipe they've given you and take it to that next level so you can scale your business.
It's almost like you're the secret ingredient, right? It's almost like it.
You're going to get what you put into it. I mean, at the end of the day, anybody can pull in leads, but it's only going to work if you put the effort into making that. And I know what my strengths and weaknesses are. And my weakness has been picking up that phone to call when the situation's not perfect. And so, if that's really something you struggle with, there are options for that. You can hire an outside ISA. Meskula can provide one for you, at a price. But at the end of the day, that can be something that they can assist you with. And then by the time you have to pick up the phone call, that person's well aware of who you are, what you do, and they're looking forward to talking to you. And that can make things a lot easier as well, because you can go in super prepared.
Exactly. Katherine, Ironside, everybody. Thank you so much, Katherine, for this, for all your insight, for all your feedback. So helpful. And guys, can't wait to see you on the next one.